Kemper Project property located on Ashley Road adjacent to Kemper Village from CP to R3.
You want to open the hearing?
I think the meeting just got open.
Okay,
The hearing is open.
all right. So if anyone has public comments.
Who has a comment? Who has 10 comments? God forbid anybody's got 20 comments.
Not you.
No question? Okay.
All right, and now we're closed, right?
Do you guys want to say anything? The developers are here. It's
But we need to ask him about this pink shirt. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Thanks.
We're gonna remember you.
I've been here before. I'm actually standing in for one of my employees. My name is Ben Ross, and I'm the Vice President of Engineering Surveys and Services. And the engineer who's working on this actually was double booked and is down in Springfield. And then I need to go from here to Columbia. But I'd be happy to answer any questions about the project. I understand it went through your planning and zoning process already. And it's going to be rezoned from a planned district that had commercial uses to a residential district that'll have less traffic generation. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay.
Steve,
Just for everybody's information, what does R3 include?
Oh,
Can you build on that?
It's your zoning for multifamily.
Okay.
So it would be apartments that are attached dwellings. The plan that they're proposing is 48 units.
Okay.
And single-story buildings. The zoning itself would allow the full range. If for some reason they don't get funding for this project, the zoning would still be changed by your action. So the full R3 zoning would be allowed on that property.
anybody else? Questions? Thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks.
Appreciate it. We done?
gavel it out.
Gavel it out. Closed. I think that's the first time I've used that as mayor. But now we're gonna be gentle. Teresa?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight for allowing us to once again gather together to discuss the city's business. We ask that you guide us and direct us in making the right decisions. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Teresa. Roll call.
Kurt,
Here.
Gilbert,
Here.
Venable, Turner, Stock, Young,
Here.
Meadows. Here. Cowherd.
Here. Hearing of citizens' comments. If there's anybody who'd like to make a comment or speak to the council, please stand up and come on up to the microphone and sign in. And if there isn't anybody, we will move on to the approval of minutes. Any questions, changes, suggestions from anybody? Roll call. Well, let's have a motion first.
You don't need a motion. They just stand as presented.
Stand as presented
Yes.
according to Kate. Okay. Consent items, there are none. Presentation of accounts and claims, that's on page 12.
Be it ordained by the council of the city of Boonville as follows. For the purpose of paying salaries and various accounts against the city of Boonville, which have been allowed by the council at the regular meeting thereof, September 20th, 2021. The sum of $520,904.26. General fund, $276,747.46. Sanitation, $8,899.73. CIP tax, $14,594.95. Waterworks, $34,292.98. Capital projects, $0.00. Wastewater, $72,528.91. Tourism, $12,063.68. Gaming, $95,546.53. Parks and Water, $790.00. Kemper sales tax, $5,440.02. Economic Development Project, $0.00. Section 2, the accountant is hereby authorized and instructed to draw checks on their respective city bank accounts in favor of the persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $520,904.26, being the total amount of money being appropriated. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect and be in force from and after its passage. First reading on September 20th, 2021, read for the second time this September 20th, 2021, since a copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Second reading, title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve these expenditures.
Thank you, Susan.
I'll second.
Thank you, Donald. Andrew, why did I say Donald? I gotta get on my game tonight. Roll call.
Hurt,
Yes.
Elbert,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Calherd.
Yes.
Okay, item 7, unfinished business. Second reading of bill number 2021-025, approving the rezoning application of Kemper project.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri approving the rezoning application of Kemper project located on Ashley Road and Kemper Street adjacent to Kemper Village subdivision.
Is there a motion? Andrew took the motion.
Motion.
Susan had the second.
Third.
You got it pretty close, Steve. Comments, questions? Roll call.
Hurt,
Yes.
Elbert,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Calherd.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Item B, second reading of bill number 2021-026, approving the Kemper project and preliminary site plan.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri approving the Kemper project and preliminary site plan located at Ashley Road and Kemper Drive adjacent to Kemper Village.
Is there a motion?
I'll motion.
Andrew, motion, second.
A second.
Teresa, thank you, Teresa. Questions, comments? Roll call.
Hurt,
Yes.
Elbert,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Calherd.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Passes. Item 8, new business. Consider street closure and parking restriction request for Kemper Alumni Association. It's on pages 13 through 15. Everybody's had a chance to read it over, take a look at it. Any questions or comments? Can I have a motion, please? Thank you. Susan? Motion to approve, I take
Yes.
it? Yes. Okay. Got a second? Albert, thank you. Questions or comments?
Do we see any issues with closing half of Main Street?
It's just the alleyway.
Just the alleyway, sorry, it's not any of Main Street. Okay, never mind.
Actually,
I
Oh,
thought
it
it
is.
said something about Main Street.
yeah, sorry. I'm Laura Gramlich with Kemper Alumni
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Association. What our main focus is to close that alleyway down and right in front of our building. We're gonna plan on using the lot where the pawn shop was and the other building from the fire. Right now, it is dirt. In the event that it rains and that is a mud fest, then we would want permission to go ahead and extend that out a little further into the street to accommodate what we have going on. We're going to have 35 cadets from Missouri Military Academy come down with their band, their color guard, and their drill team. to do a ceremony for us, retire our colors into the museum, and then we're going to have a ribbon cutting. So if the weather holds out and it doesn't rain, we should be in good shape. But like Heritage Days, we didn't get rain, and then we got 11 inches in 24 hours. So my luck this year has not been that great where the weather's concerned. So hopefully this is not going to be the weekend, October 1st, that it changes. But should that happen, then we'd like permission to go just a little farther out into the street, and I can make accommodations with the police department if we need to. We're talking about maybe 25, 30 minutes.
Okay, if I understand that correctly, with rain, you want to move out into Main Street just in front of that lot?
That lot and in front of our building to take up like
Oh,
the
in front of
parking.
your building.
Yeah, in
Okay.
front of our building to take up like parking spots.
Right.
Maybe just a little further if we need to. Like I said, hopefully we won't, but it's a short period of time that we would request that should worst case scenario come to fruition.
Do we need to note that in the motion?
No, we're okay. We'll just make sure it's clarified in the follow-up email to staff that it's in case of rain, primarily parking, and then you guys can just work with them for the duration.
Absolutely, if that's agreeable.
So if it
Thank
does
you.
go in, do we think we'll have to reroute traffic, or you'll just be up to the parking stops? What are you thinking?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
You know, worst case scenario is we have a lot of people show up, which I hope they do. I mean, Kemper was in business for 158 years. There's a lot of history. We have a lot of alumni coming in that weekend. So that's a good thing for tourism, and so we want to promote tourism, and we hope that there's a nice amount of people that come in. With that being said, we're going to try to be the least restrictive that we can with the traffic flow and keep that going. It is a highway, and it's Friday afternoon homecoming, so but we do want to bring it to the council just to make sure, so there's no surprises and everybody's kind of on the same page.
I'll let you, we're aware of it.
Yeah.
So we have the homecoming parade that day, so we're gonna have officers there. So if we do have to make a contingency plan, we'll direct the traffic around there for that little short time. I don't know what time the parade is, but yours is not too long after that.
Right.
Anyway, our patrol lieutenant is well aware of it. He's got a plan in case that happens. So we
Yeah,
should be able to-
and I've spoken with him today, and I told him it was contingent on what happened here tonight, so we're in contact and we're working that together. Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah, I guess that was my only, because I thought it did say like half of Main Street maybe, so as long as Chief Wolver and Chief Carmichael are on board, that I have no issues with it. They're the professionals, so, you
Yeah.
know, like, but that was my question, I did see it kind of said Main, so.
And you all are cordially invited. That was kind of, I think it got included in the council pack, a little invitation there. We'd love to see each and every one of you come support us. It's going to be a good thing for Boonville. It's Friday, October 4th. We're starting about 4 o'clock with MMA, their drill team, their color guard and band. Have a little ceremony, and I think it'll be a special occasion. If you can come out, we'd sure love it.
Should be. Any other questions? Okay,
Thank you.
yep, thank you, Laura. Just roll call? Roll call.
Hurt,
Yes.
Elbert,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Cowherd.
Yes.
Reports of standing committees. Planning and zoning, there was no meeting. Maybe that's why Whitney didn't, no, that didn't have anything to do with it. Okay. Boonville Housing Authority, Barry, how was it?
I wasn't able to attend, I had some personal issues, but the minutes of the meetings are in the package if you have any questions.
Anybody have questions? None. Animal and Fowl, Ordinance Amendment Work Group. That's page 18 and 19. Any questions or comments on that?
I guess,
You open it for questions? So I did have a question or two on that. How many outstanding applications do we have currently on this? Do we have any?
None, because it hasn't gone into place. This is just sort of the results of the meeting, and it'll come through as a formal ordinance change, and then that point in time, we'd start
We
taking
don't have
applications.
anybody with chickens?
Well, we have people with chickens.
Yeah, we have people.
Now, Kate, you did issue a few.
I've issued one permit to
That's
the
a
Harvest
permit.
House.
Okay.
And my predecessor issued one permit to a gentleman on Holler Street.
So there are two.
There's
out
two outstanding permits.
But we do understand there's more people with chickens
Yes.
than two. We know that as a fact.
Good question.
Now, I have another.
Do you have another
Would
one?
this, yeah, I have another.
Okay.
Does this cover situations where I live here, but I have a plot of land over here and I have chickens on that land only? Does it cover that kind of a situation?
That's interesting, because all we talked about was contiguous. We didn't talk about separated.
I don't think you could do that because our zoning ordinances do not allow accessory structure on a vacant lot. So if you have if you have a lot here and you have a lot over here, you can't just put your garage over there. It's not allowed. So chicken coops will probably fall into the category of an accessory structure.
I'm not the chicken expert.
Hey,
Yes.
we're getting
I
there.
want that on record.
Anything else, Albert?
No, sir, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
So are we discussing this right now?
Yes.
Okay, I got a question on the 10,000 square feet. And in my neighborhood over there, a lot of those places are just a frontage of 40 foot, 50 foot. So 50 times 150 is 7,500.
Yeah.
Can we adjust that?
Yeah, we talked about that in the minutes. Didn't I include that in there? Maybe I missed that part of the minutes. Oh, yeah, we mainly talked about it being close to your neighbor, that it would be, you would have to get their permission if you were less than 50 feet. We didn't talk about reducing the lot size.
10 to 12.
Yeah, I mean, our lot sizes over there, a lot of them are just standard 50 by 150, so that's 7,500.
I mean, we can change it. We haven't done anything.
Okay, can we change it?
Sure.
If you guys are amenable
What
to,
did you want in that, Steve?
7,500.
Yeah, fine.
You figure that'll cover it?
I'm not sure. I mean, some of them are 45 foot. How about 6,000?
we can write it however you guys want it.
How many
Okay.
6,000 square foot lots are there in the city?
Over in our neighborhood,
Is there a lot?
yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, I know
some
there's
of
some.
those
There's
lots
several.
are
The
40.
older ones for sure, but I
Right.
also know.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these places don't have garages or anything. It's just a lot, 40 to 50. On my block, of course, my house is bigger, but 65 foot frontage is a large lot. So I just hate to put anybody out.
All right, so what are you suggesting?
Yeah, whatever you suggest.
6,000?
6,000?
6,000.
Okay,
Okay,
fine.
That'd be
thanks,
45.
Steve. That's good. Well, it's a good pickup, because I wouldn't have thought of that. And Ward 1 is particularly full of lots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chickens, maybe chickens.
I
Teresa?
have a question. So how many chickens are we talking about?
So right now, the current thought, and again, I just want to stress that this is just what's kind of coming out of the committee, was 8 is the
a lot of
maximum.
chickens.
Unless you have a bigger lot, which I have not totally drafted, but let's say you have a 1 acre lot, then you can have 12 chickens. I haven't put in all those numbers yet, but that it would gradually, you could have more the bigger your lot is.
So, yeah, so many feet per chicken.
Something like that.
Steve?
We don't have one. Never mind.
Teresa, you had a comment about that?
Yeah, I just think that's way too many chickens.
Okay.
How many? 8?
I think 8 should be I'm not for the chickens, okay?
Okay.
Period.
But if you were,
But if I had to go with this, I'd say anywhere between 6 to 8 would be the max.
yeah,
Okay?
that's good.
So I'll just add a little, so when I first entered this committee, I was talking, in my head, 4 chickens.
And I would be in
And
agreement
I
with
thought
4
that
chickens.
was a lot, after talking with people that are more familiar with chickens than myself, they were talking that them being an animal that liked having company, if you had that few, it actually would not produce eggs as they should if they have a bigger flock. So that's how we, and they actually wanted 12. So we were able to compromise and bring somewhere into the middle ground, which was around 8. And that 8 was kind of where I was like, oh geez, that seems like a lot. So I'm with you
Well,
there.
my whole thing is when the weather gets wet and everything gets damp, they're not the nicest smelling things around. And I don't care to have that smell come floating through my window when I have it open trying to get a spring breeze.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
So,
so we're back to 8.
well, so what I will do is we just kind of wanted to put this here to start. Becky and I are meeting next week, because in addition to just the chicken question, we're cleaning up the whole ordinance, animal ordinance generally, just to eliminate some other things or add some things that we need to add. And then Doug will look at it. So when we feel good about the general structure and the enforcement, I will draft stuff up, and I will do just like I did for the work group, that I will highlight things. Everything is up for discussion, but I will highlight the things that I think are maybe the real meat and potatoes, the number, and then we can just have a discussion before we even have a first reading on it. So I will just present the draft for a discussion, and then we can hash out the numbers and the lot sizes and make sure we've got all the, you like my graduated scale, you don't like my graduated scale, those sort of things, so we can really decide what we want. And then once you guys sort of have consensus, we can bring it for a first reading.
Okay, because I just think that for the person that's over here in this house over here that likes chickens, and the person over here that's right next door that doesn't like chickens, it's just kind of unfair that they get to have a whole house full of chickens, and you have to just deal with it.
Yeah, we have that with cats and dogs now.
Yes, we do.
So you are gonna increase that if they have more like a half-acre lot?
That was that was kind of the recommendation coming out of the committee, but again, I will put it in there, and then if most of you do not like that structure and you just think there should only be 6, 8, whatever the number is, we can always get rid of it. So I will put it in, because that was the initial recommendation of the committee, to kind of have a graduated scale for people who have more. As an example, I said the Harvest House actually has 35 chickens, but they use them to feed the residents of the house, and they sit on, I think it's 5 or 6 acres down there. So, and they're very isolated. There's no one else around them. So
Right.
I gave them more chickens because I thought they're doing a good thing. So we're kind of following that example.
Question, John.
Yes.
Did the committee talk about any kind of oversight in terms of once they meet the comply with the requirements, is there ever going to be any kind of oversight to?
It would primarily be on a complaint basis after the fact. So we didn't contemplate, and Barry and Andrew can chime in, but we didn't contemplate like any sort of annual inspection, but it would be if there was a complaint that the coops were unsanitary or unhealthy. But that's how the enforcement, which is the number 9, that's still question mark, because that's the Doug question that we're still sort of hammering out. What does enforcement look like? That would be how those things are handled.
Yeah, and I guess I would just add too, so the intent with this is to try to get something on the books that makes the most sense for everyone, because now it's the Wild West, right? We don't have anything that gives any guidance. So I think as we take this first step with the city council, our responsibility will be to provide guidance and something that's clearly spelled out as to what people have to follow. So then we can start somewhere. But I mean, that's really the goal here, is to get something on the books that makes the most sense. Because as I said, today it's just a lot of gray area and a lot of Kate issuing, passes for chickens when necessary. So we need to do something and come together with something that makes the most sense. And then as over time, we can change these and do some things around enforcement. But we need something. We have to do something. So.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you. Reports of city officials, city administrator.
Okay,
Page 20.
I'm gonna switch around my dots here because I forgot to put dots down. So first, we have one last road show. So you thought you were done, but I forgot. That's because John Taylor makes himself very busy up at the airport and only comes to bother us when he really has a need. So anyways, John Taylor is here. Come on up, John Taylor, introduce yourself. And he is our contracted airport manager, and I would like you guys to meet him. And if you haven't been to the airport, you should go there. It's a really nice facility for the city.
Hello,
Hi, how are you?
my name's John. I manage your airport. Does anybody have any questions about the airport? Well, this is going to be easy.
So can you give us an overview of the traffic that comes through there?
Oh, yeah. Right now, we're estimating that we have 39 operations a day, which is going to put us a little over 12,200 a month, or a year.
What do you define as an operation?
A landing or a takeoff. Yep, one or the other. We have approximately 50 based aircraft. And just to give you a relative thing, Marshall, they have 22. Sedalia, I think, is around 17, 18. Fulton, let's see, Fulton 31. And we've got 50. We've got 40 T hangars, 5 square 50 by 50 hangars, and then we have what they call shed hangars, which are open, and we're full. We've got 4,000 feet by 75 feet concrete runway that was just built in 2019.
So you think about expanding any at all, the airport in the near future?
How our projects go is every year or so we make a list with the MoDOT Aviation Department. So we'll come up with a list of things that we want. Longer runway, terminal buildings, more hangars. We'll put it all on the list. Then MoDOT will come in, they'll look at our last inspections, and then they'll go through and they'll say, okay, our last inspection, we felt that we had a need, an airside need. And so they'll take our list and they'll put their inspection on top of that. And so then that's what we would take care of. Right now, I believe we have some issues with some taxiways around some hangars that are asphalt, and I believe they've jumped up to the top of the list.
So if you was to expand, how would that, if you expand your airport, how would that affect the Thurman project?
I'm sorry, the what?
If you was to expand your airport, how would that affect the Thurman project or Fox Holler?
Oh, that project. Really, it wouldn't affect us. As we have, right now, our runway is north-south, and I believe that project is on the west side. And so as far as the airport's concerned, it wouldn't affect us. Now, as far as the people that purchase houses, they're going to be right next to an airport. And so that's something with them. But as far as the airport and its expansion right now, I don't see that it affect us at all.
Steve?
So do you have room for expansion out there?
Yes.
Okay, how many acres?
We're sitting on 197 acres is what the airport sits on.
Okay. And how much are you using now?
Well, let's see. 4,000 by 75 feet is roughly 6 acres.
Okay.
It's a long 6 acres, but it's 6 acres.
Do you ever have any light jet aircraft at the airport?
Yeah, the 4,000 feet will take care of approximately 95% of general aviation traffic, which I think Love's flies a Citation in, and I think the casino at one time flew in some kind of Citation jet. So yes, it will accommodate that when the weather's good. Insurance on those would, like if we had slush on the runway or if it was, if there was rain, then the insurance would say, no, you can't land that jet on 4,000 feet. You need longer, so then they would land in Columbia.
Okay.
Good question.
And then, so obviously it's serving the area, so like the customer base, the 40, 50 landings a day, where are most of those people coming from?
Okay, well, most of them are local.
Okay.
We do have some transients that come in, and a lot of it is me with I own the flight school as well, so a lot of it's mine.
Okay.
And the crop duster, he flies out of there, and so he'll have a lot of takeoff and landings in a day as well.
Okay.
So out of the 50 based aircraft that we have there, 14% live here in Boonville, and 46% live in Columbia, and then another 40% are from the outlying areas like Jamestown, Fayette, Roachport, just sort of that general surrounding area. Any more questions?
I think you've educated us. Thank you.
No? Well, feel free to come out and look at your airport. It's yours.
When's a good time to come up there and look at it?
Actually, if you want to call and see if I'm going to be around and not flying, anytime.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm there 7 days a week.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you.
We did get some, another round of stimulus funds specific for the airport this year, so we're doing a nice improvement. We're getting a new fuel pedestal, which ours was, you could not buy replacement parts for it. I think finally they cut us off, so we're upgrading to a newer fuel pedestal, which I think will help John and everybody else. So it's a nice amenity and one that we will continue to work with. The other thing that John didn't say was that the aviation, the MoDOT, they're usually grant projects, and it's a 90-10 match with 10% coming from the city. So it's probably the best grant we get at the city. So we are always happy to participate. Thanks, John. All right, the next thing is Gigi is up on an economic development report, so we're gonna let her come on up too, and then we'll go to the audit.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, so from my last quarterly update, I just wanted to let you guys know that our community calendar, event calendar is live. It's a soft live right now, so we're trying to work out some hiccups that are going on with it. So we haven't really marketed it out there, but we hope to soon. I'm continuing to work on the renewal of the Work Ready certificate for Boonville and Cooper County. That's a process, and just trying to get us renewed. I think you're supposed to renew every 2 years, and something that I haven't really worked on. So I saw that we were up for renewal, and I hadn't renewed us. I think we were given that certification in 2016. So our BCDC website is up and running, and I don't know if you guys have checked it out, but it's very impressive. We had a great board that put that together. I was a part of it, Kate was a part of it, but I have to say that Kate and all the other parts of the board did most of the work. So, and that's why it looks so good, probably, because it is impressive, and hopefully it will draw people to our site. It's got a video of footage of a drone over our town, over the highlights of our town, the Isle of Capri, the Warm Springs Ranch, the downtown area, the golf course, our access to 70. So you guys should definitely check it out. I think you'll be quite pleased. So from my last quarter update, I talked about a Project DRIP. We lost them. They went to Moberly, citing that the building was more in line with what their company was needing. They had 40 jobs coming from Oregon. As far as current projects, of course, there's a lot that I have sent out, but we have 2 major projects that are showing extreme interest in the city of Boonville, Project Kickstart and Project Trout. Together, they could bring up to 300 jobs back to the city and fill some vacant buildings. These are our most promising projects, and we're in progressing stages right now, but I mean, as we all know, and as if those of you that were here when Jim Gann was here, you know, we had promising things too, and we were like the second choice. So nothing's, you know, definite, but we definitely have some things in the works that look pretty great. Still working on that. In Windsor Village, I think I told you guys last time that they have a 103-acre industrial park that they're developing and are still in the process of becoming a certified site. And a certified site gives all the information, the soil type, the topography, I mean, everything that a company would want to know about a site. Unfortunately, our industrial park, they're not in, they're owned by outside people outside of this area. They never did get them certified. They haven't gotten them shovel ready. So the City of Boonville, we don't have certified sites currently. Something that I will hopefully have a discussion with them about, because that is something that a lot of companies are looking for. They don't want to wait for the land to be ready for them to move on it. Everybody's moving at warp speed anymore. Windsor Village, I'm working on 2 projects with them. One that I'm submitting this week and one that it's still in the running for, Project Whiskey and Project Sunshine. And like I said, we're in the very early stages, so, you know, I wouldn't hang my hat on it just yet, but we are working towards that. And those 2 projects alone could bring anywhere from 200 to 500 jobs to our market. And I tell you this not because it's not in your area, but it will affect, you know, our area too. And you know, housing, I wanted to update you guys. The last time I think I talked to you, there was only 3 active listings in the Boonville mailing address, which includes Windsor Village and all the outlying counties in Wooldridge that have a Boonville mailing address. There currently is now 10 active listings, 17 pending, and 185 that is sold in the last year. And that is data collected from the Columbia Board and the Central Board, MLS combined. And I also wanted to touch base. I wasn't able to talk because it wasn't my time to talk, but last week there was a couple things, and I had someone ask me a question about one of my comments, and I just wanted to go over a couple things to make sure that everyone's clear. Whitney had asked me, isn't it more valuable to be in the city limits over outside the city limits? And if someone's on a septic system, and I think I responded that only if the septic system's failing would that be the case. So just so you guys know, as far as market value, it has to be market driven and appraised value. It has to be driven by the market and what the market tells us the home's worth. We all know that when you put in a septic tank or a well on these sites, it costs more money. But when they get ready to sell them, you know, one over the other, there's no difference. People don't differentiate as long as it's in working order. So I wanted to make sure that that is clear. Appraisals are driven by the market and how the market perceives inside. So just to have a more comparable site, Windsor Village is bringing about the same amount for a comparable size home, age, condition home as you would see maybe on Sonia or somewhere. So they're all bringing about the same value. One's in, one's out. The other question, I think, Steve, you asked this about regarding undervalue on the 15-acre tract at $300,000. I just wanted to bring that up because it is undervalued when you look at it as a proposed site. You don't value it in its current condition as a farm. So the best way to give you an example, if you're building a new home and the lender says, hey, I'm going to loan on this, this is what's being proposed. In order for them to build it, they have to get this loan. What's the hypothetical condition, the value of the home as proposed? So that value is not going to be the vacant lot. It's going to be the vacant lot with the improvements. And the same thing goes with the subdivision.
But there's no improvements to those.
But it's as there's going to be, right?
Not until Boonville does it.
Right. So
You're just 15 acres, period.
So
undeveloped land.
Right, but it's proposed to be a subdivision, correct? And in that
Well, it may-
proposal,
Yeah.
there's 30 to 35 lots, correct? I mean, that's where the land was going.
But there's no, yeah, but it's just farmland, period.
It is, right, that is
Right now,
correct. It is
Bob.
farmland right now. It is farmland right now, but that's not what it's proposed to be. So if a lender is going to make a loan on a subdivision, they are not going to make the loan based on the farm ground. They're going to make the loan on what it's proposed to be and its current value. So if you look at our 30 to 35, let's say 35 lots, the average sale price ranged from 31.3 to 58. The median sale price ranged from 29,750 to 47,000. So if we just take a 35,000 lot, at 35 lots, you're looking at over 1.2 million. And if a bank or, go ahead. I'm just telling you, that's
Well-
how you look. You may not look at that as that, but if it's,
You're buying what you're buying, period. If it's not, if you don't have the infrastructure there, if you don't have the streets there, those lots are not worth that. If it's just land, it's all Boonville's purchasing, it's just land. It's
Right,
probably double
but
what
that's-
they paid for it.
I get what you're saying. I hope that you understand what I'm saying too, because there's 35 lots that they're not going to be selling. So does that not have value in your opinion?
They have no cost in it. If they're not gonna improve it, they don't have a cost in it. It's what they paid for. If they paid $10,000 for it, we're paying double what they paid for it. You're not gonna tell me they got over $10,000 in it, 15 acres per acre.
You know what? I'm just telling you how that lenders look at that and how they're gonna look at it as missed lot sales in the value. So I guess the value is in the eyes of the beholder in this instant, and you feel that it's only worth vacant ground. But if I was a developer and you would put yourself in their shoes and they're saying, okay, we're gonna sell 35 lots for 300,000 when we could get 1.2 million for them.
They don't have the money in it. It's not worth it if the money hasn't been invested in the land.
But it's proposed to be invested.
Well, I could propose a lot of things. But that's where I'm just saying,
yeah.
this is what that land's worth.
What's the next item?
Yeah, you better go on.
Yeah. So that's basically all I had. So any questions on anything? Nope.
Thanks, Gigi.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, then on page 20, as Ned initially directed you to, is a letter from Jeff Chitwood, who, regarding our audit, and then you also would have gotten the big audit, so if you need some bedtime reading, there it is. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them, and if they're above my financial understanding, which sometimes occurs on the audit, then I will turn to Jeff and he can explain as well, so.
Anything about the audit?
Yes, sir.
I have a question. Is this strictly a financial statement audit? Did it get into like internal controls and compliance and that type of
Yep,
thing?
they always do that every time, so for a long, maybe when I first started with the city, probably, I think in like 2007, 2008, consistently on our audit was that we didn't have enough separation of people handling money. And as we've added people on staff, Teresa started taking a portion, and Mary had even taken a portion, so we separated out a lot of duties, so those are no longer deficiencies in our audit. And so they mentioned that I think it's at the end, but they may mention that they don't have any concerns about how the money is being controlled and who sees the money and who handles it.
Good question. Anybody else?
Kate, did you have any issues with this? I mean, as they presented it to you and you met with them in the process?
No, the only one that was noted in our failure, so we didn't know this, but now we know it for next year, so that's how we'll say it, is that if you read through on the back side, one of our things was that we overspent The general fund by
I was
$2.5
just-
million.
I was actually just going to ask you about the general fund, which is now negative $514,000.
The which one?
The general fund.
Yeah, so it's fine. So again, in the way government accounting, we have a pooled cash account. So first of all of our funds are in one bank account. So we internally partial out all of our money. And so it's not like the checks are gonna bounce. That's not the issue. And a lot of it is because we have monthly income receipts coming in. A good example of this too is the Parks and Stormwater Fund. If you look at the financials I provided, they look way underwater. And the reason why is because we do a transfer and we also get receipts year round. So we'll even out at the end of the fiscal year. But right now, we look like we have paid out because we pay out all of our debt payment right away in April. It just is how it looks.
It's a
and
timing issue.
It's a timing issue, but the money
Or an
is
or an
there.
allocation.
Yeah, but the money is always all there in today. So that's what I always say, like, we're not writing checks that are bouncing. It's just on here, it looks unlevel, but we have always done in the past just one budget amendment, sometimes two if we miss something. And so that we just kind of clean it all up at one final part. And just to go back to their findings of non-compliance on overspending the general fund, what that was is we didn't account for the revenue coming in when we refinanced our COPs. So we got the check and then we didn't even get it. It went from one debt account right to the next debt account, but we should have done a budget amendment to account for that 2.5 and then spend it. So it looks like we didn't get any revenue to cover that 2.5. We had a long conversation with Jeff about that because we didn't understand that we were supposed to do that. So this year you will see that being done so that we don't get that deficiency in 21-22.
Do you get that?
Yeah, I get it. It's just,
Dude, when we, on the private side, when we
Yeah,
get an imbalance, then we simply reconcile it,
you're right.
okay? Here, what we have to do is we have to take care of it before we close. It's basically the difference. It's the same process, Andrew.
Okay. No, I mean, honestly, there's a lot here, okay? So, Kate, I am relying on your expertise here. So the only thing that I would like to be made aware of, any type of issues you have or any type of things which would affect future spending or
Right.
future revenues or
No.
future debt.
There's nothing there of worry or concern
Okay.
from our perspective. And Teresa, who's been through it, and Kim and I will tell you, even the auditors, they adjust our books. And that's why I say sometimes I don't even know why they make a bunch of journal entries at the end of the year to make it how it's supposed to look. So that's what I always say. There's the next level that I don't always understand. I'm like, okay, if that's how it looks, then I trust you too.
One thing. In the summary, it talks about actual expenses exceeding the final estimate. I mean, that happens all the time, doesn't it? What's the deal there?
Albert, which page are you on?
I guess in the summary page, page 3 or 4, the last comment on page 3, I guess.
Yeah, so that's the one that I was saying, that 2.5 million, that our expenditure, it looked like it exceeded the 2.5, but that was a refinancing, so we got the money in and then it went back out, and we didn't amend the budget. And then on the tourism one, I think I noted on the back, if you look at the very back pages of the actual audit, it will talk about how there's a management discussion. On tourism, they just had a couple expenses I'm always estimating, because we have to be done, like by the end of our fiscal year, so you're guessing, and I just guessed a little short on that one. But again, they had money in either pooled cash or also in tourism's case, they had cash on hand to cover it. So it's not like the balance wasn't there.
Kim? Yes. Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
And then the last thing I'll just note, I apologize, this didn't get in the packet, but the financial statement for August 31st is here. I provided some commentary on some of the funds, if they look lopsided, for example. And then also, just a couple comments that tourism and gaming were looking good from last year. So I'm happy to answer any questions now, or as you look at these financial statements, at a later date.
Why don't you make your notes, and we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting, under city administrator. How's that?
That's fine.
That's good. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. If you'll turn to page 21, I would entertain a motion to nominate Chrissy Stemmons,
I'll make a motion.
okay, to fill the unexpired term of Caitlin Huckabee. And it's appropriate that Barry makes that motion, of course, because he's the councilman that sits on the housing authority. So I have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Albert. Any discussion or questions? Roll call.
Hurt,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
and Calhoun.
Yes.
Item C, city clerk, you got anything?
Nope, I do not.
Okay. Miscellaneous. Thoughts or questions? Susan?
And Albert, we had an email, I guess, from our Ward 2 citizen, and I'd had a neighbor ask me about the status of Morgan Street Parkway Drive, the repairs going on. Wanted to thank Jeff for replying so quickly. I just wondered if there was any update on the work going on there?
Not yet. Hopefully something's gonna happen this week, or we'll know some answers.
Okay, thank you.
That's in Miko's hands right now, right?
Yes, they actually got the engineering part back to us now, so
Yeah,
trying to move forward with that.
okay. Thank you to both of you. Anybody else? Albert?
I'm looking here at the Public Works Monthly Report. And I had a question about the meters. What is the status of the meters?
Of the what?
Meters, the readers. They said you're training new meter readers
Oh, well, we haven't.
and installing 11 new meters. We're installing the ones where you read it from the street.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. And we had a meter, he quit on us, so we hired a new person, so we were in training with him. He's the one that goes out and reads the meters and everything in his free time. He installs new ones and stuff of that nature.
But eventually, all the meters would be read from the street. Is that-
Correct, correct.
Do we know when that might be? Or-
Well, we're about 1,100 of 3,000 right now, so we're a third of the way.
yeah.
It's gonna take a little bit.
Are
We've got like
those-
3,200
Are
meters.
those discs that we see? Or how
You can
is
see
that?
them on the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, like an antenna looking thing.
Okay.
Yep, those are the new ones.
Yeah.
Okay?
The other question, or I guess comment, at the intersection of Ashley and Main Street, the street sign there, the sign itself is really faded out. You can hardly read it. I don't know
Okay.
if anybody knows.
Is that where you saying on Ashley and Main?
At the intersection of Ashley and Main, as you're coming from Ashley into Main,
Okay.
the sign is right in front of you, but you can hardly read it. It's faded out.
Okay, I'll take a look at it. It'd be a MoDOT. That's a MoDOT
Oh,
road.
that's a MoDOT
So it's not really our road, but I'll take a look at it, and if it looks that bad, I'll call them up and tell them about
You can
it.
really hardly see it. I had
Yeah.
friends come in town, and I was trying to give them direction. They wasn't familiar with Boonville
Right,
at all, and
right.
they didn't see that.
Okay, we'll certainly take a look at it. Good?
That's all.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Albert. Anybody else? Miscellaneous? All right. I have a motion to enter a closed session personnel, RSMO 610.021. Motion, please. Thank you, Susan. Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Barry. Roll call.
Hurt,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
and Calhoun.
Yes.
Okay, we're in closed session. Just a quick